Hello and welcome to the M.B.Om podcast, where you'll learn to master the business of yoga. M.B.Om is a proud part of the Wander Barn podcast network, and I'm your host, Amanda Kingsmith. I'm a 500-hour registered yoga teacher, a yoga business coach, and a total business geek. Here at M.B.Om, you'll learn everything you need to know to create a sustainable yoga business by learning from myself and guests from around the world about how they built their yoga businesses, and about how you too can become a successful yoga teacher, studio owner, and much more. All right, let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mastering the Business of Yoga. It has been a while since we released a brand new episode, and I'm so excited to be back behind the mic, kicking things off for our brand new season of spring 2023. So what I wanted to do in today's episode of the show was give a little life update. I wanted to share with you guys what I've been up to over the last couple of months, and then also give you a little update about what to expect for this new season of the podcast. So lots of good things happening, and I'm really excited to dive in. But before we get there, I wanted to just give you a big thank you. If you are still listening to the show, if you are still with us, I am super grateful. I think one of my biggest fears with putting the podcast on pause was that people might forget about me. They might stop listening. And so that kind of informed part of our decision around doing a From the Archive series. So if you guys have been following, if you're on the newsletter, if you follow social media, even if you follow the podcast on, any platform, then we've been releasing older episodes over the last couple of months. And for many of you, these might be episodes that you've never seen before, that you've never heard of. And one of the things that I sort of was thinking when it comes to releasing weekly content is that we're so busy and there's so much content out there that it's really hard to keep up with so many different shows. So while we weren't releasing new content, we had some of our older shows that are still very much relevant, that have some really good business lessons, really good topics. We had those coming out in place of that. And so hopefully you guys have been following along and enjoying those episodes if you hadn't heard them already. And if you had, then really excited to be diving in with some newer content. So it's been 4.5 months since I released a new episode of the show. Our last new episode went out kind of the middle of December before I took a couple of weeks off for the holidays and then settled into the rhythm of just not releasing weekly episodes. So I wanted to share what I've been up to behind the scenes, give you a little bit of an update about what to expect going forward with this new season, like I mentioned before. So let's start with a little life update. So I've been doing quite a bit of travel. My husband and I actually spent a month in Panama and Colombia with our daughter, of course. So we spent all of January in Panama and Colombia. Panama was just kind of a long weekend layover en route to getting to Medellin, Colombia, where we spent the rest of the month. And this was really fun. If you guys have followed me for a while, then kind of pre-living full-time in Mexico, pre-having a child, I was basically fully nomadic. We were spending, 1 to 3 months in a location, and then we would move on. And that's very much how my journey has been for so much of while this podcast has been around. I've been all over the place, recording from hotels, hostels, Airbnbs, all different places. And while it's been really amazing to settle in and create a community here in Mexico where I live, it was also really fun to kind of get back to that travel in just a small period of time. We got back from Colombia and we were only home for less than a week before we headed to Puerto Vallarta on the west coast of Mexico, where my daughter turned 1. Her birthday is only 4 days before mine, so we kind of celebrated her birthday as well as mine, although her birthday was definitely much more exciting than mine was. So yeah, I have a 1-year-old now, and she's, a little bit past 1 at this point, since that was back in February. And it was just a really, really nice time. One of the upsides and downsides of these types of travel is that I don't have a lot of support with my daughter outside of my husband, who works full time. And so I wasn't doing a lot of work during this kind of 6-week travel period because I didn't have, childcare. And so I had a really, really great time spending the majority of my time with her. and then working naps and evenings and, times where my husband could watch her, et cetera, et cetera. But it was really nice not to have to stress about the podcast. The podcast is one of the main things on my plate and whatnot. So I was really happy to have that break. But when I got back in mid-February, from that intense 6 weeks of travel, and that was also coming off of, Christmas and having family visiting, et cetera, I just got started with recording episodes. So I've been recording 1 to 2 episodes per week, and I'm planning to finish the recording before I head off on our next big adventure, which we're going to be leaving pretty quick after this episode drops, and we're heading to Japan for a month. This was a place that we went back in 2017. We fell super in love with it, and we actually planned to go in 2021, but unfortunately the country was still not open due to the pandemic. So those flights got canceled. And as soon as we heard that Japan was opening back up in the fall, we decided to book flights for the spring. So really excited about that, a little bit nervous for a super long haul flight and a big round of jet lag with the baby, but I think it's going to be a really fun adventure. And so the last couple of weeks that we've been just settled here have been really full on with work. Like I said, I've been recording 1 to 2 podcast episodes per week just to get everything ready to go with the new season, as well as, working with clients, et cetera, which I'll talk a little bit about in just a minute. But if you guys want to hear more about, our travels, particularly Panama and Colombia, I do have a travel podcast that I co-host with my husband called The World Wanders. So the episodes on Panama and Colombia are already out, and the episodes on Japan will be out in the next couple of weeks or so. So if you want to follow along with kind of my personal travels, then that's the best place to do it. But I will try to do some more life updates over the course of the season and via social media, et cetera. And so I really enjoyed the break from recording and the time and space to step away from the business a little bit, but it's also been really fun and really enjoyable to be recording again. And I also had some other big changes that happened kind of in the new year. I was pretty overwhelmed with my workload at the end of the year, which I talked about in my year-end review, and just felt like there was a tension between mothering and working, and I don't want that tension for either of those things. I've always been really passionate about what I do, and obviously I want to show up as my best self for my daughter. So I decided to step away from one of my main studio clients in January to give myself more space in my life and in my business. And that actually opened up some space to take on a couple of new yoga teacher clients that I feel aligned with. And I've taken on 2 clients over the last couple of months, and I've really been loving being back into the one-on-one coaching. It's feeling really good and a little bit more spacious than the studio work was feeling. So while I'm still super passionate about studios and would definitely work with the right studio if it was the right fit and just the right setup, I've been really just enjoying the way that I currently have things set up for myself now, which has been just a little bit more space in my life, and have definitely needed that with how full on mothering has been. I also taught my first yoga teacher training for over a year. I wrapped up my last program at the end of 2021 when I was super pregnant. And then I just taught in my first one at the end of 2022. So right around the fall Christmas season. That was really great. And I'm excited to be diving back into teaching a few programs per year now. If you guys want to check out the program, it's with the Vancouver School of Healing Arts. They're super, super amazing. Based out of Vancouver, their program is a hybrid between online and in person. So I'm one of the online teachers, and I really love teaching for them. And what I really love about them is that they actually have a business component in their training. So the students that are graduating are coming away understanding so much about the business of yoga, which is really great. So really excited to be diving into that. One other thing that I'm celebrating for myself right now is that I'm finishing up level 2 of Shakti School, which is an Ayurveda program. And I have been really loving this. I've been doing this over the last 2 years. And I probably mentioned on the podcast that I've gotten more into Ayurveda, learning more about Ayurveda, but never really talked directly about Shakti School before. But I've just loved these programs, and it's been so fun to have this sort of passion project for myself on the side, this continual learning and growing that I've been doing. And I'm really excited to be integrating more Ayurveda into my business going forward. So if you start seeing that word pop up, if you start seeing things that are kind of more aligned with that, then you know what's up. Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that I finally moved my courses, my signature programs, from Teachable, where they've been housed for many, many years, over to Offering Tree. And I have been really, really happy with that decision. And I'm super, super excited to share that Offering Tree is back sponsoring the podcast for another season. So you guys will be hearing all of the good things that they've got going on over the course of the new season of M.B.Om. But I wanted to share a little bit about what my personal experience was like. As you guys know, when I first started working with Offering Tree, I created a test website with them so that I could trial their product, see how long it took, see how functional it was. That was, obviously a must for me before I ever decided to share them. And with each update that they make, I always go into that test website and I play around with it. And a couple of years ago, I created a free course about creating, video on demand libraries and that type of thing. So I've known how to use these features in Offering Tree for a while, but it just took a little bit of time and effort to actually sit down and move my courses over. I haven't really been happy with the Teachable platform for a while. I was on the free option because I wasn't doing a lot with it. And basically they kept taking more and more things away from me. And I just got to a point where I was like, okay, I just need to move over. The price point for Offering Tree is way more aligned for me and I get way more bang for my buck. And so basically I sat down, downloaded all the videos from Teachable. I have 2 full courses that I needed to move over, and it took me a couple of hours over 2 evenings. So I put Gilmore Girls on in the background and just downloaded videos, re-uploaded, put everything in order. I basically was doing copying and pasting, downloading and uploading. So it wasn't super labor intensive. And I think to do both courses maybe took me like 4 or 5 hours in total. So I was a little bit nervous because I wasn't sure how long it would take and how easy it was going to be to do, but I was actually pretty surprised and impressed by, how functional it was. And then one of the things that's really amazing about Offering Tree right now is that they've done all these amazing updates to their website templates. And so I actually redid my homepage. And again, it took me not very long to do that. And it looks so much better. It's a little bit more modern. It's a little bit more sleek. It's got some more details on it. So really excited to be using Offering Tree more, moving things over onto Offering Tree. So now my courses are housed there. Going forward, any workshops will be housed there, and I'm planning to move all of my coaching over there. So really working on getting that website set up so it's really pretty, it's really aligned with my branding. It'll work really well with M.B.Om.com, which is the main house for everything that I do, my main website. But really excited to have my courses on the Offering Tree platform. And I was really excited to hop on here and just share with you guys this update because I am genuinely very impressed and pleased with how everything looks and how everything's functioning. And one of the things that was frustrating me so much with Teachable was that I had to pay like quite a bit of money to do any type of discount or promo code, which I understand because they're a business, but I just wasn't able to front kind of the large bill, especially with how much money I was making off my courses and just in my business in general over the years. And being able to just do coupons super easily without having to like upgrade my membership and pay extra money has been a real blessing with Offering Tree. So I'm super, super thrilled to have them as the sponsor for the podcast once again, to continue our partnership and to continue sharing all the great things that they've been up to. So stay tuned for more information about that. But in the meantime, if you want to go check them out, head on over to offeringtree.com/M.B.Om. You guys get a discount if you use that link. And yeah, definitely just go check them out, especially if you are somebody like me who maybe has courses or wants to create courses and you're just not sure of which platform's best, which one's best bang for your buck, et cetera, et cetera. I can definitely speak from firsthand experience that was really pleased and I'm really pleased with Offering Tree's platform. So yeah, excited to share more about that. If anyone has any questions, definitely let me know. So what to expect for the upcoming season. So we're going to have 12 new episodes that will run from next week until the end of June. Well, I guess technically this episode counts. So 13 episodes that are brand new, including this one launching today at the beginning of April. So we're basically running through the spring season, through, start of April until the end of June. So we'll be wrapping up things kind of pre 4th of July, pre Canada Day. And I'm really excited because we have new guests on the show. I think we only have one recurring guest back for this season. Everyone else is brand new, people that you've never seen before, never heard from before, at least on this podcast, maybe some people that you guys know in general, but new guests talking about a range of topics, everything from prenatal yoga to running location independent yoga businesses, lots of conversations around teaching online. We're going to talk self-publishing books and so much more. One thread that I've noticed as I've been preparing all these episodes that I've been recording, getting them organized and in order, writing their descriptions, is that pretty much every guest I've had on has some portion of their business online. And it's just really been making me think that the industry has gone through more of a permanent shift and that online is here to stay. And so this is a conversation and a topic that I just think is really interesting. But I feel like, a couple of years ago, I would talk to some people who were online, or maybe they had a portion of their business online. And then obviously with the pandemic, a lot of people were pivoting online. And now, it's like 3 years since the pandemic started. It seems like we're kind of out of the depths of the pandemic, and a lot of people are still online, and, they're offering online options that are really amazing and can reach a ton of people. So I do feel like there's been kind of a bigger shift that's happened in the yoga industry. And I'm kind of excited to explore that with the guests, explore that with you guys, hear what you're thinking and all of that good stuff. So that gives you kind of a high level overview of the new season without giving too much away, but I hope that you guys are really excited for some new episodes. I know I got a couple emails from people reaching out and saying, are you still doing the podcast? Are you still doing new episodes? Will you be back soon? I haven't seen any updates from you, et cetera, et cetera. And I really appreciate those messages. It's really nice to know that somebody kind of noticed as they went on their podcast app that there wasn't the regular content coming out. And like I said before, we've had those from the archives episodes that have been going out. So older episodes that we've been republishing. And, M.B.Om has over 300 episodes released. So definitely lots of content that we can share and lots of content that's still relevant even a couple of years later. So I really love that we were able to provide you guys with something to listen to while we were away, but also I'm really, really, really excited to share this new season with you guys. Going into recording this season, because I knew that I only had 12 spots for this spring season, I was really particular about who I invited on the show and what topics we were going to cover. And while I've always been particular about guests and I've always been only having people on that feel like a hell yes, I just feel like having less spots made me even more particular and really thinking like, who is a really great fit for this season. And I'm just really excited for you guys to hear the next 12 episodes of the podcast. So buckle up because it's going to be fun. I hope you guys are going to enjoy. And I'm anticipating that somebody is curious what's happening after the end of June. So the plan as of right now is to take another pause. It gives me a chance to record around my travels. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to be in Japan, so I'm not going to be recording anything for basically all of April through till the middle of May. And then I have about 2 months to do some recording before I jet set off to Canada for a month to see family and friends, where I also won't be recording. So I'll be doing all of the recording for the next season during that time, which as of right now, we're planning to release sometime after Labor Day. So it'll basically go like Labor Day until Thanksgiving, and then we'll probably do a big break again because let's face it, nobody is doing Business of Yoga work between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's just not happening. But it seems that you guys really liked the From the Archives. And like I said before, we've got hundreds of episodes. So I think we'll continue doing that during the little breaks and pauses that we have outside of maybe a couple of holiday weeks. So you can expect some new content down the road, as well as us repurposing some older content. And as I'm starting to look for guests for the next season, if you guys have any recommendations, topics you'd like to hear, guests you'd like to hear on the show, please make sure you let me know. And if you yourself would like to be a guest, please don't hesitate to reach out. Send me an email, info@mbomyoga.com. All right, you guys, I am super excited to kick off this season. Starting next week, we'll have a brand new episode. In the meantime, a big thank you to Offering Tree for agreeing to continue working with me. I am so grateful to them. You guys, make sure you go check them out. It's offeringtree.com/M.B.Om. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. If you decide to move your courses over there, let me know how it goes. Send me your page so I can go check it out, all that good stuff. All right, I'm so excited to dive in with you, but we'll leave it here for now. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of the podcast. To find links, notes, resources, and everything mentioned in today and all episodes of the show, you can head on over to M.B.Om.yoga.com. You can find the podcast and myself on Facebook and social media at Mastering the Business of Yoga. And I would love for you to join the private Facebook community, Yoga Business Badasses. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please make sure you reach out to me at info@mbomyoga.com. And last of all, if you enjoyed this episode of the show, please make sure you hit subscribe and leave a review for the podcast. It would mean the world. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Namaste.